Hey guys, and welcome to another devlog video for the Animal Behavior Kit. I know it's been a while since my last update, but believe me, I've been working behind the scenes to try to get this going. Now that the procedural foliage tool has been published, and I've gotten the first little feedback, I am now back to the Animal Behavior Kit full time. And by full time, I mean my development time now is dedicated fully to finishing ABK. I've gotten a ton of comments and support from you guys, either from YouTube or the forums, or just people messaging me on the Discord. So I want to thank you guys for all your support. Believe me, it really encourages me to continue working on this. It's been a long time. If you guys remember, I started this in January of this year. That's been 10 months, right? Except for, a few weeks here and there where I took a break. This has been the longest project for the entire year. So I am very, very close to finishing it. So I'm really happy to finally give you another quick video of some animation improvements that I've done. I also have a member of the community who's been helping me and giving me a lot of really good feedback. Actually, he's the one that donated this amazing T-Rex model. He's actually making a game with dinosaurs, and he's been really good at giving me very useful feedback. So it is taking longer, but believe me, by the time this gets released, it will be so much better for it. So anyway, what I wanted to show you guys today was some animation improvements that I've included. And if you notice, we're just going to focus on the T-Rex here, but this goes obviously for any ground animal. Now before, the way I did animations was that you had an array of animation montages for every state of animations, right? And this is still the case, but I've added a ton more options to give you guys flexibility. So the first thing I did is I added two new animation categories, and you guys can see it here on the right hand side under setup animations. There's two new categories. There's an idle animation and there's an engage animation. Before, it was just attack, death, hit, eat, drink, and rest. So there's two new animations, right? And before, the idle animation was part of the blend space of the movement anim blueprint. But now, actually, when you just open this, you'll see that it's the same thing as before. You can add an array of as many idle animations as you want. And then you have the same play modes as before. You have single, just the single animation, random among the list, or sequential, which is going to actually go sequentially on the array. In addition to that, every single animation montage now, you can specify it here, but you can specify the animation play rate and the animation start section name. So if you create an animation montage, which can be many different animation clips, you can actually create specific sections in your montage and give them names. So this allows you to actually use the same animation montage, for example, for several different animation slots by just changing the animation start section name here. So again, more flexibility, right? The whole point of this is to give you guys as much flexibility as possible in your game. There's also a sound cue that now has been attached on each animation clip. That again, this is from the feedback, is really useful. Usually an animation from an animal will have a sound, right? If the animal's attacking you, you probably want to make a sound, right? A sound effect. Or, if the animal is eating or roaring or attacking you, anything, right? So if now on every single animation montage, you can specify your sound cue here, and you can see that there's a bunch of controls as well. Volume modifier, pitch, sound start time, and you can even have specific attenuation and concurrency files per animation montage. So again, a ton more options here. And the same goes for the engage animation here. So idle animation will basically play every time the animal stops, right? If it's roaming around in the map, it will play the idle animation, right? The engage animation is basically an animation that will play when the animal goes from roaming to engage, right? So if you guys remember, engage means it goes into combat, right? So engage behavior could be you know, run away like a deer, or it could be to attack you, like in this case is T-Rex, right? So this animation will basically play when the animal goes into combat. So again, really useful for animals. In this case, you'll see from the T-Rex, as soon as the T-Rex engages, it'll actually roar. There's an animation for a roar, including a nice little sound effect. So you can see here, there's a roar animation and there's a sound cue that I picked up from a website, and it'll basically just play once and then engage. And then the rest of these animations are basically the same thing that you guys have seen, right? Attack, death, hit, etc. And last thing before I actually press play here is that every animation now has two separate animation notifies. And these are actually custom events that fire when the animation starts and when the animation ends. And the reason they're custom events is because they can be easily replicated and you can add pretty much any code you want. So again, it's very extensible, right? So if you want your animal to perform a specific action, or you want something else to happen in your game when your animal, for example, dies or attacks or eats or whatever, now there's a very easy way of knowing exactly when that animation either started or ended, and you can actually add some code. So if I were to just open the T-Rex blueprint here, I have a little example. So here, what you would do is you would come into the functions and you would click on override, and you see here that we have a bunch of events that you can override. This is a child blueprint. So it could be anim notify, idle start and end, engage start and end, attack, so forth, right? You get the idea. And in this case, all I'm doing is saying every time the idle animation starts, just print idle start. And when it ends, print idle end, right? Very, very simple, but again, it just gets to the point. You can literally add anything you want here. Same thing with engage. In this case, I printed engage start, and then I'm actually doing a camera shake that is going to start half a second after the engage animation, which is a roar. Again, this is a way of extending the functionality of the blueprint. So I'm going to go ahead and click play here, and I'm going to follow this guy by using the follow camera blueprint. If you guys remember from a while back, this is just a little blueprint that follows whatever target actor you have here, and you can just rotate the camera. So I'm going to hit play, and you'll see that as soon as the T-Rex enters combat, it'll engage and it'll play the engage animation, right? So let's go ahead and hit play. And you can see that there was a camera shake, and now the T-Rex is going after the deer. And I should have made his run speed a little bit faster because he's kind of struggling. But you can see he's trying to catch with the deer. And I think it got it. There you go. It killed it. And now it's probably going to go back into idle. And you'll see as soon as he hits idle, you'll see on the top left corner it says idle start, idle end. And then it'll just kind of roam around. All right. And of course, I need to set up the collision properly. As you can see, the head is kind of poking through there. But that's pretty much the main idea, right? You saw that as soon as it engaged, it roared, the sound cue played, and the camera shake played. If I can play it again, you'll see. You can see the camera kind of shaking there, and the T-Rex going. So a lot more control. And newer animations. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys. Hope you like it. Again, I feel like this is the last 10% is really where I can make it polished, and you guys will have a lot more flexibility. There's a bunch of other stuff that really there's no point showing you guys. I've streamlined the blueprints. I've been cleaning up a lot of unnecessary variables, put in a lot of comments. Now every single blueprint has a comment. You remember if you've ever bought ABK, or if you bought the foliage placement tool, I like to put a little description on every single blueprint in green that basically explains exactly what what the blueprint does, right? In this case, and that takes time, commenting the variables, doing all that stuff to make sure that when you guys do get it, then you can quickly find the information you need. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Like I said, I'm back on ABK full time. I am making a big push. I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible. So please do let me know what you think. If you have any comments or suggestions about things that you would like to see, if you're making this type of game, please do let me know. Again, I do take feedback very seriously, and if I really like the feedback and I think is relatively easy to implement, I may just add it in here for that initial release. So thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.